Hello, everyone. I would like to welcome you all to our Google Classroom training today. My name is Katie Zinsmeister, and I am the technology trainer for the school district. I am also your support as you move forward during this unprecedented time. Today, I'm working with a team of coaches and instructors from our school district so that we may help you move forward and begin this year's remote learning as best we can. Please remember to post your questions in the chat, email myself or any of the other instructors or coaches. And by all means, stop in the drop-in sessions scheduled over the next 3 days. I look forward to seeing you all in our Google Meets and answering all of your questions. If you have been using Google Classroom, I invite you to stay. You may get some tips and tricks along the way. If you are new to Google Classroom, we're going to get started right now. You ready? All right, let's go. Google Classroom is an app designed by Google to help students and teachers communicate, collaborate, organize and manage assignments, support remote instructions, and so much more. Today, we are going over how to create and set up your Google Classroom, how to organize it so that students and family members can support instruction, and district guidelines for using Google Meets and Google Classroom. So here we go. As many of you know, in order to get to Google Classroom, you can do one of two things. You can go to the grid in your upper right-hand corner of your screen. Some of you call it the waffle, and click on Google Classroom, or you can go to classroom.google.com. Either or, you should end up somewhere along the lines with a screen like this. Some of you may have classes here already, and some of you may not. If you haven't created a classroom before, you're going to click the plus sign in the upper right-hand corner. You're going to click Create Class. You're going to give your class a name. So we're going to call this our test technology class. We are asking all teachers to follow the naming conventions provided by your supervisor. For elementary staff and preschool staff, it is your last name, the grade level, and the year. For middle school, it's the last name, the period, and the school year. Please make sure to see any guidance from your content supervisors. For the high school, it is all based on the guidance from your content supervisor. So please check with your content supervisor within Clifton High School or one of your colleagues. So in this case, we're going to call this Zinsmeister Test Technology Class 2020-2021. If you have a section related to that class, you can add it. You can also create a subject and room number. Obviously, because it's virtual learning, there may not be a room number as of yet, but there will be. You can click Create, and once you do that, Google automatically creates a Google Classroom for you. So we're just going to wait till this creates. It automatically opens, and you'll see 3 things right on the front. On the top bar, you have 3 lines. This is your main menu where you can navigate between classes as well as archived classes, and we'll go over that at the end of our class today. Under Settings, you will be able to change notification settings such as receiving emails, about comments, classes that you enroll in, classes that you teach, all of those important things. But we're going to go back to our Google Classroom. So on the top, next to the 3 lines, is the hyperlink back to this main page. You have 4 tabs as a teacher, as a student. You have 3. So it's Stream, Classwork, People, and Grades. As a student, you have Stream, Classwork, and Students. Actually, I'm not sure about that. I think it might say People as well. Okay, so those are the 4 tabs at the top. Underneath that, you have this nice little theme that you can actually change. You can either select a theme or upload a photo, or you can stick with what they have. Here is your name, exactly as it appears to students. Then there's the class code. This code, if you click in this box here, will allow you to display it, and you can also copy the invite link so you can send it to students. All students pre-K through 12 have email addresses. And then right underneath it is a meeting link. You can generate a Google Meet link straight from your classroom by clicking here. It tells you that with the Meet video meetings, you cannot connect with students for distance learning. You can connect, You can manage Meet in your classroom settings. You can click Generate Meet Link, and you can toggle it on and off, making it visible to students. We are asking all teachers to generate a Google Meet link that is available for all Google participants throughout the school day. Once you do that, you can click Save. And if you click on it directly here, it will open a Google Meet tab. At the end of the school day, you can go in by clicking the gear and scrolling down to where it says Meet, and then you can toggle it off. And once you click Save, it doesn't automatically save, but once you click Save, it's not visible to students anymore and they can't get in. We are asking for your benefit to make sure that you turn it off at the end of the day so that the students don't go back in and have a chat session or fun with their friends. It does happen, and we just want to make sure that it doesn't happen to you. Okay. That is what's called your banner. So underneath your banner are 3 important things. One is an upcoming work due soon section that will self-populate. You do not need to do anything with it. 2 is your Google Stream. Google Stream works very similarly to social media. So it will post the most recent at the top and the most distant at the bottom. Here is where you can create and schedule announcements like important things, reminders, maybe your daily schedule, something that's visible to students that they can see. If you post something in the stream, you can post it to all students. Or you can go in and post it to any of the students listed below. So as you can see, I don't have any students, but you can uncheck and check students as needed. You can also post the stream by clicking, or also make additions to the stream by adding either a link, something from your Google Drive, a link, a file, or even a YouTube video. So you can search YouTube videos and insert them straight into your click add, and it goes right into your stream. You can also add files, you can add hyperlinks, and anything from your Google Drive. In fact, one of the best things about Google is anytime you're going to post, if you click the downward arrow, you can schedule, excuse me, your post, or you can save it as a draft. But you can click post, and what happens right away is students can see this right here, and they can click on the link, and it will take them and open up their YouTube video. That's the stream. However, the place you're going to spend most of your time planning and working with your students is the classwork section. The classwork section has 3 important pieces to it. One is the create button. Then the create button allows you to create assignments, questions, links, all materials, all of that is under the create button. To the right of that is Google Calendar. Google Calendar has a special calendar that is designated for each Google Classroom, and will put important events, projects, and things that you add here with due dates into a Google Calendar for your students. There's also a Class Drive folder. This takes all of the student assignments and puts them into a folder for you so that you can access them at another time, and it keeps things organized. So let's talk about creating and setting up your Google Classroom. So if you want to, you can hit the create button right now, or you can listen and watch. If you click create, you have several options. You have an assignment option. You have a Kami assignment option, and Kami training will be coming later. We want to make sure that all Google Classrooms are up and running first. Kami assignments uses the extension Kami to edit and modify all different types of materials and text. It's also really great for high-level math assignments, so more training to come. You can also create a quiz assignment, which uses Google Forms. You can post a question where students can respond directly to a question. You can also post materials like links to textbooks, links to YouTube videos, links to all sorts of things. You can always reuse a post. So let's say at the beginning of each month, you have a reading log that students use. You can reuse the post. And at the bottom, there is a section to create topics. Assignments must be posted by topic or subject, or by date, depending upon the students' needs and the way you would like to organize your classroom. So I'm going to show you how to create a topic. So we're going to click topic. And in some cases, we are going to call them subject areas, but you can also put your topics by date. So this could be 9/8/2020 through 9/11/2020. And what this will allow you to do is organize your information, your assignments. So in this case, we might even want to go back and call this math. So we're going to click rename, and we're going to call this math 9/8/2020. Or actually, that's a better idea. So you're going to click rename. And what it does is now has the content area and the dates. So you just want to make sure that you're consistent with all the content area. You can also do the topics. So you can have language arts, 9/8/2020 to 9/11/2020, or you can just have language arts. It's totally up to you on how this would best fit your classroom. In an elementary, it's much easier to have the subject. In middle school and high school, you might want to change this around by period. If you're going to keep all your students in one Google Classroom, I would advise that you not do that. but you can. All right, so we're just going to rename this without the dates. I'm going to take the dates out. All right. And then we're going to create one more, and we're going to call this, we're going to create two more. Resources and materials. Now, our district is asking that you have a materials section and you have a resources section. The materials section is for reference for all students and families. So things like textbook links, things like important pieces of information such as rubrics and projects and all those kinds of things you can post under materials. The district is also asking that you provide resources for your students and families, and those would be support documentation. Something like directions or how to do something, maybe a screencast, those kinds of things. But let's say this is your list and you're not happy with this list. You want to rearrange it because resources should go all the way down at the bottom. You can click and drag right from the main screen that you're on. And maybe you want materials here. Okay. You can also arrange yourself by clicking the topics below. You can't drag and move them around from here. You have to do it from this screen. See, it doesn't work. So this is how you would organize by topics. If you were to organize by dates, then you would just put the dates instead of the names of the subjects and the areas. Although you should have materials and you should have resources no matter if you're pre-K or high school. Okay, so what's next? Well, what's next is you have to create the assignments. You can create your assignments on a daily basis or you can create them on a weekly basis depending upon what works best for you. But I'm going to go through them all and you can decide which works best, as I said before. You're going to click Create and then you're going to click Assignment. So this is an assignment. It is for teachers to post, students to submit their work, and teachers to grade. You always want to give your assignment a title, and you may call this math practice. You can give them directions, and I'm just going to type gibberish so you can see. And then you have two options. You can add a link from Google Drive, a file, a YouTube video. So any of these. So we're going to choose a link and we're just going to call this Imagine Math. And then you can put the link here. Or better yet, we're just going to go easy right now. And we're going to click Add Link. So you'll see BrainPop will come up and all they have to do is click on it. Now, to the right of Add is Create. And you can create a Google Docs, doc, a slide, a sheet, a drawing, or form that they can work with. And so if they're going to work on BrainPop, you might have them want to work with a doc. Now, Google Docs will open this particular document and you can create a template, maybe a series of questions that you want to answer, give it a name. So we're just going to call this gibberish. And we're going to type here. Okay. And when we're done, we're just going to close it. So, but once I come back to it, you'll see on the right-hand side, there's a drop-down menu. So you want to make sure that you click on here and you change it to make a copy for each student. And what that does, it allows students to have their own copy of something and submit it to you. The one at the top you can also do, however, the students will have to download it and then open it and then save it and then upload it and submit it. If you make a copy for each student, it makes things a lot easier. The middle one, the fact that students can edit a file. That means they edit this particular document. We've run into problems with students in the past where they have edited files, deleted their classmates' files. So we want to make sure if you're going to have students do work within the file itself to make a copy for each student. Once you're done this, then you're going to move to this side of the screen. So you can actually go in and, because I don't have any additional Google Classrooms, you can go in and you can't see it, but you click this downward arrow and you'll be able to assign it to more than one classroom. So for those of you that teach, four to six areas of the same class, 6 periods of the same class, you can assign it to every period, or you can assign it to 1 or 2. So that's within Google Classrooms through the dashboard, to assign it to other classrooms. However, you can also go in and assign it to different students. So let's say Sarah, Khalid, and Mark are all working on this particular math practice. You can go in and select them from this drop-down menu. If there are more than one student, maybe there might be 5, there might be 6, or you can have the whole class. It's totally how you design your lesson. You can give it a point value, or you can leave it ungraded. You can give it a due date. You can also give it a due time. It defaults to 11:59 p.m. on the day that it's due. However, you don't have to do it that way. You can, from here, assign a topic. So there's math. And you can also, if you're using a rubric, enter your rubric right here. There are originality reports, and I believe that they will allow you to have up to 5. So right now we don't have unlimited originality reports, but that's what this is. So you can add a rubric by creating one, reusing one, or if you have it in Google Sheets, importing it. I know that there has been discussion on using the universal rubric for certain grade levels and certain areas of instruction. So just keep an eye out for the guidance from your content area supervisors. So once you're finished, you can do one of 2 things. You can click assign and it goes out to your students, or you can click this downward arrow and you can schedule it to get posted. Maybe the next day at a certain time, school starts, you can schedule it, or you can save it as a draft. So let's say you wanted to add something later, you save it as a draft, or you can discard it. If you click assign and you've filled out all of this stuff, it may take a minute. It will show up in the math section, but it will also show up on the stream so that you can click on it. And as a teacher, you can go back and look at the instructions, and then you can go in and look at the students' work. Obviously, I have nothing here because I don't have any students and they haven't submitted anything yet. If you wanted to return to the class page, just click your name and class and it shows up here. I want to point out one more thing. Do you notice that this good morning does not show up in your classwork? That is because if you post an announcement, it shows up in the stream, not in the classwork page. Now you can always move it to the top by clicking the 3 dots. So let's get back to classwork. Now, I want to create something different. I want to be able to create a question where all my students will answer the same question together on Google Classroom. So, what is your favorite color? Okay, and you can have them type it in or you can give them multiple choice. For this one, we're going to leave it short answer. Please type your answer in the next 10 minutes. Okay, again, you can add things, create things, but because they're answering a question, you don't really need to do anything else. You can, as I said before, assign this to all of the Google Classrooms you are working in, or you can just leave it as this one by clicking this downward arrow here. You can also assign it to all students or just select students, depending upon who is in your classroom. You can leave it graded or ungraded, set a due date, and pick a topic. Now, in this case at the bottom, students can reply to each other and students can edit answers. I'm going to turn off both. My daughter's class last year, she had a thread of about 81 comments back and forth from students. So I tend to shy on the side of caution. So once I do that, again, remember downward arrow, you can schedule, save it, or discard it. If you're ready, you can just click ask. And it posts to the stream, and it also posts under the topic. So if you click stream, you'll see it shows up here. And then if you go here, you go to question, you can see the question and you can comment on what your answer is. Easy peasy. All right, next step. You have a couple other options. You can post material. So material is just posting a link. There's no grade, but you can also add it to a specific topic. So we're going to call this Brain Pop link. And then you're going to, you can add a hyperlink right here. And we're going to do Brain Pop. You might do Khan Academy. You might have some links that you work with. If you click add link, you can give it a description if you want. You don't have to. You might say, please use child's unique login based or child's Google Clifton, child's Clifton Google login to login. Please contact me if you have any questions. Now, obviously we're not grading anything, but maybe it's a certain thing that we want to assign to certain students, so we could pick our students. And we definitely want to pick our topic. And then again, you have the same drop-down menu. You can just click post. And what that does is put things here under materials, because we selected that as our topic, and there it is. Now, there are several other options for assignments. You have this Kami assignment, and as I said, Kami training is coming, but if you'd like to learn on your own, you can go to you can look up Kami, and their information is there. The third one down is quiz assignment. This incorporates Google Forms straight from Google Classroom, and you can see it creates the blank document there. You can put it on lock mode so the kids can't go into Google and search for the answers. And you can create your Google form straight from here. The beauty of this is it grades it and it puts the answers right into your Google Gradebook, which we're going to go to in a few minutes. You can also add a rubric. You can also add your topic, due date, and points. Many of our teachers use this option. Okay, so reuse post. That's the last one that's here. So let's say that once a marking period, you give a certain specific assignment. And maybe the second marking period, you want to reuse that assignment or that post. You can click on here and it'll ask you to select a class. And you'll see that when I get here, it's just my own class. It might take a minute or two. So that's reuse post. We've gone through everything else. So we're going to move to the next tab. which is people. We can't have a classroom without our students, and the students can't have a classroom without their teacher. Teachers, no matter if they are inclusion teachers or art teachers or music teachers, and you want to include them on your Google Classroom, they might be inclusion teachers. If they are teachers, they have the right to post and delete assignments, create their own assignments, differentiating assignments for their own students. So if you are adding teachers, please be aware that teachers have the same rights and privileges within this Google Classroom to do all that. In order to add a teacher, you click on this little icon with the person and the plus sign, and then you type in their email. So you can click on that. It'll automatically populate. If it doesn't, you type their name and then click invite. The same thing goes for students. Because all of our students have email accounts, you can just click on the student's name. If it doesn't come up, you can add them, and then you click their name and click invite. What that means for a student is that they can go in and they can join without entering a classroom code. Okay, that's basically it. All students have the ability to do is look at what you've posted and respond to it in whatever shape or form you're asking them to. Keep in mind, please, that students can also be removed from a classroom once they've accepted their invitation. And you can just click on them and click remove. You can also email all students. Parents do not have access to your Google Classroom unless they log in as their child. That being said, for kindergarten, first, second, and third grade, maybe parents are checking their work. We have a rule in my house that they're not allowed to submit anything until I check to make sure that they've completed it. I had a situation where my eldest daughter decided to do her work and then it erased. We're not sure exactly how that happened. However, you want to make sure that you remind parents that their children should be doing the work, not them. And you want to make sure, especially if you're working with middle school and high school parents, that you invite their guardians so that parents get a weekly summary email of what's coming due, what has been due, and what information has been disseminated to the students themselves, what assignments have been given to them. So once you do that, you want to make sure that you add all of your students. And if you have a lot of students, all you have to do is go back to that stream and click on that classroom code and make it bigger. Boom. All they have to do is type it in. Okay, so the last tab at the top, grades. Now, my class doesn't have any grades or any students in here, so I'm going to bring you up another class. I'm going to unarchive it so that you can see it. Let's see. Let's restore this one. We're going to restore these. These are my tech support classrooms. So I'm going to share them with you when we are done. I invite you to join them if you haven't. And I'll be able to show you the next tab a little bit better. So, all right. So here is my high school tab. You'll see that the class code is here. So if you're in high school, write this down. It's Q2FFYHN. And what we have here is a bunch of things, resources, different activities, and some things that we've been working on. I have to clean it up a little bit, but you are welcome to join this if you're a high school teacher. If you're a middle school teacher, I'll bring the middle school one up. And if you're an elementary or preschool teacher, I'll bring that one up as well. So, grades. How do I grade assignments? So you can go in, and as you grade assignments, you can click on the assignment itself and, check the student's work here, and you can actually put their grades in right here. Okay. Now, if they're missing assignments, you can click all students and click return because apparently they didn't hand it in. But if you have assignments that have been turned in, and I'm just going to bring this one up so you can see it. You'll see when things are missing, and you'll also see when things are turned in. Now, one of the best features about Google Classroom, and that has made itself known over the last several months, is that you can take your Google Classroom grades and you can download them into real time. Now, we've had a lot of teachers who have felt that the way that it imports isn't perfect, but it's a time saver. It's your decision. You don't have to do it. It's just something you might consider. So that's the gradebook. So you would click on the student's assignment, and you can either view the submission or return it. And if there's no submission, you can make private comments. You can go to different students. And once you are done with them, you can return it for multiple submissions or just a single submission. But you can play around with this. It's really what works best for you and how you choose to do it. If you don't choose to use the Google Classroom gradebook, that's fine. Just be prepared that parents may ask you if they're submitting assignments, what their grades are. So let's look and see what else we need to show you today. All right. So how do I assign something to multiple classrooms? Well, I'm going to show you that right now since I restored my other classrooms. So I'm going to click create, and I'm just going to add a material. And I'm just going to say BrainPop. This is the link for BrainPop. And I'm going to add it here. And I'm sorry to be using BrainPop so much, but I think it makes a point here. So you click add link, and I'm going to put it under, no, I'm going to put it under, yeah, we'll put it under BrainPop. Okay, so we're going to click post. Oh, heavens. Never mind. I'm sorry. Wasn't paying attention. Okay. So you'll see on the right-hand side that with materials, you can pick and choose the students that can see it, because I have a lot of them. Or you can have it add to all students. That's one way to do it. So I'm going to do one more. And I'm going to say just gibberish. Actually, I'm going to write up here. This is a test. Please do not post anything. Okay. So you can click add, and you can add a few things. Let's say we want to add a video from, never mind. We won't add that. We'll add a file. You can add a file from the computer that you're working on. So if you're working on your desktop, or you can, add a file from somewhere else. So once you click insert, there's your file. And on the right-hand side, remember we can pick and choose our students here. But over here, we can also assign that to all of our other Google Classrooms. So if you teach 3 periods of social studies and they all get the same assignment on the first day of school, all you have to do is this. You do not have to assign it individually in each classroom. So once you click this, you click post. And I'm going to show you what it looks like. Okay, so here's what it looks like in the elementary classroom. And you'll see it's under the stream. If I go to the high school classroom, here it is. You don't have to do anything. It just automatically posts it. And the same with the middle school. And also the same with our test class that we have been working in. So there you go. Now, if you ever wanted to go back and edit it, you could go to the specific classroom, or you can go to edit, and you want to make sure that you update it. Now, as far as editing something, you do have to go into the individual classroom and add them. I hope that makes sense. So I just want to take this opportunity to ask if you have any questions, and please let us know. And then we're going to talk about one more thing, and hopefully let you to create your own Google Classroom. So I also told you that I would share with you the codes for elementary, middle school, and high school. So here is, again, the elementary code, QFDAY2K. Middle school, NC5WVDA. And high school, Q2FFYH5. I invite you to join all of these, all or one of them, as the case may be. If you work in the middle school and the high school, you can pick and choose which one you'd like to work on. There's nothing that you need to do. There's no requirements to join it. It's just a place for us to have a PD link and some important information during our remote learning time. I set these up last year, and we're going to add and incorporate a couple of different things. And I say we because I work with an amazing group of teachers throughout the district who use Google Classroom. I have used it as a parent, and I have used it as a technology trainer. So I'm very familiar with it. I feel very comfortable with it. And I like to post the stuff so that you have a safe place to fall and you feel that you can ask questions and share things that are working or maybe that are not working. So please feel free to join us using this class code. And if we do PDs, we may end up using these Google Meet links. We did use them over the spring, and we hope that we will be that myself and the other instructors will be able to use them as well. So last but not least, I'd like to show you how to set up and make sure that you have everything that you need. So if you have any questions, please let us know. The only thing on my list that I just want to go over is what this gear is for and how to access certain things. Okay, so this, if you click on these 3 lines and you go to classes, is your dashboard, launch board, list of classes, whatever you want to call it. I believe its proper name is dashboard. But from here, you can do one of 2 things. You and your students can both review work for all classes that are due. As a teacher, this is what you see. So these are all your assignments, whether or not they're turned in, how many of them have been assigned, and how many of them have been returned. You can also narrow it down by class. If you look here and you notice this, you click the 3 dots, you can click mark as reviewed, or you can go in and look at each question and who turned it in and what their answers were. And if you click on it, it will take you right to the assignment. So I'm just going to go back to where I was. Okay. And then it will also, you can also take an opportunity to review your reviewed items. For students, what they see is a list of things they still have to turn in if they're missing or they're not turned in. They get a really cute message. If they turn in all their work, it says, woohoo, no work for you. And that's always nice and helpful. Okay, so that's the to review, and you can access it here or here. Under calendar, it will take you to the calendar to see when certain things are due or not due. So you'll see that math practice is due on Wednesday. And it will also bring you to today to see if there's any specific items due today. I'm going to go back to our classes dashboard. I'm going to show you the things at the bottom. So you can go straight to your gradebook for this particular Google Classroom by clicking this arrow, or you can go to your Google Drive folder for this particular class, just clicking here. If you click on these 3 dots, you have 5 things that you can add, one of which is new as of the last couple of days. So the first one is you can move it. If you don't like where it is and you want to move it, you can move it to the end, to the beginning. You can play around with it. You can also copy the invite link and email it to you, to whoever. You can email it to yourself. You can email it to students and parents so that their students can log in if you're dealing with real little ones. You can send a copy of the invite to your supervisor or your principal or your counselor so that they can be a part of your particular Google Classroom. You can edit it. So let's say that you want to call it something else. For whatever reason, your name changes or your subject changes or whatever, you can actually change your name just from hitting these 3 dots. You can copy this class. So if you find that at the end of the year, this was really great, this Google Classroom was amazing, and your students did so much, and you want to keep the order in which you did, the topics, everything, you can click copy, and it will take an exact replica of your Google Classroom. You can call it anything else. So we might call it template. And you click copy. And what that does is it creates an exact replica of your class minus the student work and the students. So you don't have to remove kids from year to year. They can go back, they can keep their work. You'll see that it's creating it right now. And what that means is that you can add your students for next year as you get them, or you can create breakout groups for your students and have them be in 2 or 3 Google Classrooms. Whatever makes the easiest sense for you. So once you click on this, once it becomes active, it will get darker. And we're just waiting for it to create the class. I'm sure it's very confused as to what I've been doing. but that's copying a class. And I'm going to come back to that in a minute while we're waiting. The final one that you can do on your Google Classroom is to archive your Google Classroom. And what that means is that it cannot be updated unless you restore them. It's moved to your archived classes. The class files will remain in Google Drive. So you will have access to all the files. It just means that if I click archive, it goes away from my dashboard. And as you can see, it's still taking quite some time to create this class. The cool thing about the archived classes is if you click on the 3 lines and go to archive classes, you'll see them all here. Now, the important thing that you want to make sure is that Google Classroom does not let you delete straight from your dashboard. You have to go in, you have to go to your archive classes, you have to click on the 3 dots, and the last one at the bottom, so there's your move, copy, and restore, is delete. Once you delete it, it goes away. It cannot be undone for good, which is why it's a 2-step process to delete anything that's a Google Classroom. You'll see that I've been doing a lot of demonstrations, so that's why there's so many of them here. But make sure that you delete what you want to delete after you archive. You must archive first and then you delete. I'm just going to delete these because I don't need them here. And then I'm going to go back to my dashboard and hopefully we're done creating that class. Okay, here we go. So we went here, we went to copy, and here's the copy of our tech support. Now you will notice there's nothing in your stream because you haven't posted any announcements. Your classwork tab, however, is populated. Your topics are there, and all of the assignments are grayed out because they're in draft form. You see it says draft over here? So how do I make this visible to my students? I click on it, and I click Edit Material, or I can click those 3 dots here, and I can click Edit from here. Either or, doesn't matter. And then you just have to click Post. Now, if you leave them in draft form, the only problem is that students will not see them. So make sure you click Post, and then click Post again, and you will see it becomes blue. It's posted as of right now, and those 3 dots, and you can delete it if you want. So I think we went over everything that we possibly could. If you are missing information, if you come across something that may not make any sense, or you have questions, please let me know. Please let one of our instructors know. I hope that you found this helpful. I do want to make sure that moving forward, you will be able to be confident and use Google Classroom to the best of your ability. I encourage you to join us in our drop-in sessions starting tomorrow. And I believe we will be available, or at least I'll be available all day on Friday to answer any of your questions. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you soon.